Have you seen LeBron's hair lately?
I hope it's looking good.
No, it's not. I mean,
Gosh.
that guy's got everything in the world. He's 6'8", 6'9", 285, but he's got my hairline, and
Yeah.
he's doing everything he can to fight to keep that. And he's won a lot of championships, but that's not a battle he's gonna win in the long
Oh,
term. He needs to
yeah.
pull an
Just
MJ and just
shave it.
shave that shit off.
He did that last year when he lost to the Warriors. He had like maybe a couple of days later, he had him on Instagram like doing like a crazy like, "Hey, it's me. I'm working out. I'm okay after this loss." And he was totally bald and he had this beard, and he looked awesome. He looked fucking awesome. That's the LeBron that I want, but that's not the LeBron that we're gonna get because this man is not a quitter. He is not a
He's
quitter.
not a quitter. He's not a type of. He's going to keep working every day. He's
Totally.
going to get up. He's going to get in that cryogenic chamber for 20 minutes. That's not only for his muscles. That's for his hair.
That's for his hair.
He's trying to prolong the life of his hair. And I
Yeah.
gotta wonder though if he's had so many plug operations that if he did try and shave it, he'd have that sort of golf course that just got aerated look going on.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's just he's got these little tiny holes everywhere, and maybe he can't pull that look off anymore. That's the
No,
number
you're
one
right.
risk. So
You're
as a
right.
man who's gone through the torture of losing his hair,
You're totally bald though, right? You're like,
yeah, I mean, I'm like, I'm not in the hey, let's try and salvage this thing. I'm in the Bruce Willis shave that shit off club because it's already over, brother. That's what I'm on. I went bald. That when it comes to going bald, if you're a man out there that's going bald, I'm going to give a little bit of free therapy here out there for anyone who's got some thinning hair. You're lucky. You've got just a luxurious head of hair. That thing looks like it's there for the long term. So, God bless you on that, but not everyone's so lucky. So if
sure.
you're out there, whatever age you are, I'm 36. I'm bald as fuck. So it happens to the
Ew.
best of us. And then it happens to, shitty people like me too. But here's the deal.
I'm so
There's
glad
only-
I'm never getting old.
Yeah, there's only a couple things you can do wrong when you're going bald. So here's a general sort of guidelines you want to think about when you start to lose your hair.
Mm.
You got two fundamental choices. You can go the Bruce Willis route, which is the classy route to go, or you can go the LeBron route. All right, so the LeBron route's very simple. You can get yourself just an insane amount of Propecia and then start jamming plugs in there everywhere and
That
hoping
can't be
you can
good
feel.
for you. Ugh,
No.
can't be
Well,
good.
here's the thing about Propecia, and here's one of the things that when you're going bald, it's a legitimate grieving process that you're going through, right?
Mhm.
5 stages of grief, you get each and every one of those. All right.
Okay.
Number 1, denial. So when I first started going bald, my grandma was the first person to call me out on it, right? She
Oh,
says,
no.
"Oh, you're looking a little thin up there, Bobby." And I'm like, "Fuck you, grandma. No, I'm not. I'm too young for that." And then I go home and I'm like, "Yeah, you're okay, man. Yeah, she's grandma. She can't see anything. She's
Bitch is
blind,
blind.
losing her mind." So you're in that straight denial stage, right? And then all of a sudden, a couple months pass and you catch yourself in the mirror and you say, "What the fuck is that?" And you look a little bit closer and you say to yourself, "Oh my God, grandma was onto something here. She was onto something." And then you get mad. It's like, why? How did this happen to me? And then you do the math and that whole thing about, oh, it's your mother's, the grandpa on your mother's side. That's what your hair is going to look like.
Mm-hmm.
No, I got fucking screwed on that. My grandpa died at like 80 with a full thick head of hair. And here I am at 36 with a cue ball on top. So I get angry about that, right? Then you get into the bargaining stage. And that's where LeBron is stuck. All right, so LeBron's stuck in stage 3, the bargaining stage. Maybe if I just take a little bit more Propecia, or maybe if I just get a few more plugs right here.
Where
But
do they get
thing
the plugs
is,
from? Like, where do they get it from?
well, what they do. So here's the other thing: when you're in the anger and the bargaining stage, you will find yourself up late at night in those Bosley commercials. They'll catch your attention. They'll catch your attention. I'm not going to pretend like I haven't been on the Bosley website and lusted after some of these results that are out there. Oh man, look at that guy. He can wash that. That's his own hair. I wonder if that's achievable for me. So there's a couple different ways they do it. I think the newest one is kind of like a micro implantation. So they harvest the little hairs out of the back of your head. So the hairs on the top of your head, the reason they fall out, it's because they're susceptible to DHT, dihydroxytestosterone.
Jesus
So
Christ. I feel like I'm in a goddamn science class.
yeah, I'm going to give you the whole thing here. Dihydroxytestosterone. They're sensitive to that. So that makes them fall the fuck out. But the ones that hang around, they're tough. And like these little side hairs down by the ears or whatever you're hanging on to, those are the ones that are resistant to that.
Those will be, from now on, they will be called the Benjamin Franklins.
Yeah, the Benjamin Franklin hairs. And then obviously all the extra hair that pops up on your back and shoulders seems to be resistant to that chemical as well. But you can't really put that shit on your head. So what it really comes down to, they got a couple different ways to do it, where they kind of go in there and they grab a couple little hairs at a time, and then they try and patch them on top of your head. And then they got kind of like a landing strip type thing where they like cut strips out of your head, and then they suck down and like pull the back of it together and then lay it on top of your head like it's sod or sod for a new football field. Jesus. And either one of those things, it's like, all right, if you commit to doing that, you are committing to be LeBron for a lifetime. Yeah. You got to keep fucking fighting. Because
you got to be snorting Propecia, right? You got to take that shit forever. No, you got to snort it.
Yeah, I mean, you're snorting as much Propecia as Jim is Oxycontin. Like, it's a daily thing, and you're getting fucked up on that. And you got to be careful, because I hear that shit can make your dick go soft. So if you're out there looking in the mirror and you're getting a little bit thin thinking about Propecia, been on a few message boards, it'll say that shit'll get your dick soft. And that's the risk. Because here's the deal, man. You're going bald either way. Don't be bald with a soft dick. You can't take that risk. You can't take both those strikes. No woman wants you if you're bald, you got a soft dick. If you're bald and you can still carry around a nice hard cock, hey, you got a chance in the world. But you can't stack those two things on top of each other.
Just to me, it seems like the juice isn't worth the squeeze. You know what I mean? Like, you just have to put so much time and effort into it. Like, if they're taking pubes and replacing them and reimplanting them into your forehead, that's a problem. I'm not going to be able to get past the fact that there's pubes down on my forehead. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with that.
I don't need nutsack hairs on the top of my head. I don't need them there. So then you hit that fourth stage. And the fourth stage, it's not the worst. I think really it's the bargaining stage that's the worst. And once you get through that, you hit the depths of depression. You've lost the fight or you're losing the fight, and it's not going to turn out the way you want to. And you start to accept the reality of, fuck, man, I'm a bald guy.
You know what's crazy, though? Like, when I look at you and I like imagine you with hair, you're still repulsive to me with hair or without hair, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's not much of an upgrade. Yeah, and then the last part of that is the acceptance phase. And that is, it's okay. Like, it's tough going bald, but it's just fine being bald. I was over in Iraq the second time, and we had some civilian contractors on our base. And there was this guy, he had kind of longish hair, and I saw him we took a trip from our base to a larger base where they had like an actual big kind of mess hall area, and there was this contractor in there. And I've only seen it once in my life. He's the only guy I've ever seen it with. He had a comb up. All right. So instead of combing over, he grew a mullet out. So he had a mullet that was heavily greased that he would pull back up from the back of his head and then lay all the way over to like the front of his forehead. So it looked like he had bangs.
So you're talking almost like an ice cream cone-esque shape, like where you're like when they put the ice cream on the cone, where it almost looks like a point.
Yeah, but I mean, he was laying it flat. So imagine somebody with long hair, but they're bald, but instead of letting it hang behind them, they greased it heavily and then flopped it over on the top of their head. And this guy's life, like, this is such a part of his life, like his rhythm living his life, and this is all seamless. He would eat like 2 bites of his food. He'd set his fork down, and then he'd run his palm from the back of his neck through his greasy hair and then readjust it onto the top of his forehead. So no one would notice that anything was awry. So nobody would notice. And yeah, everybody noticed. You don't want to be doing that. That's the only time I ever saw a comb up. And then the other thing with that, my company first sergeant, we were, one of my buddies is with me. We just got off a mission. We're walking up these stairs. We're all tired as shit.
That's cool.
And this guy he was already bald. And there are a couple things that this guy didn't like. He didn't like smokers. He didn't like fat people. And he's not a big fan of gay people, right? So those are three things that he didn't like. But he also didn't like people that should be bald that weren't bald. And he made that very clear to me. So I was still, bargaining depression stage. And I'm trying to hang on to some shit that I got going on up there. And I'm walking up the stairs, and he turns to me like, "Hey, Fever." And I'm like, "Yeah, First Sergeant." He's like, "Shave that little pussy patch of yours." I'm like, "Oh, shit." And my buddy's there with me, and he just cracked me up, and we're like 10 years later, and he's like, "Hey, yeah, at least you shave that little pussy patch off the top of your head." But
yeah, man. At least you're not that one guy like still holding on. Sometimes you just gotta let it go.
You don't want to
Like
be
the
LeBron.
song Frozen. You don't want to be LeBron James.
You don't want to be
You don't
LeBron.
wanna be Do you want to be LeBron James, who's the laughing stock of like America at this point, or do you want to be Terry Bradshaw, fucking throwing touchdowns to his Steeler fans and making Steeler fans happy? Who do you want?
There's
to be?
nobody posting pictures up on Twitter of Bruce Willis like making fun of the guy. Like, holy shit, look how bald Bruce Willis is. No one cares. He looks good like that. We've all got our bald idols. The Rock, God bless you. Jason Statham. Well, we all.
Oh yeah, come
on. Every white bald dude. I mean, man, Jason Statham. Man, thank you for existing, man.
He's the shit.
You are the one. Like The Rock and Jason Statham are the two bald guys that women actually want to fuck. So it's like, hey,
Bruce Willis too. What about Ed Harris, dude? Ed Harris from Westworld and that sniper movie.
Yeah, no, I mean Ed Harris at his best, obviously The Rock. I mean,
oh yeah, The Rock.
How can you say Ed Harris and not bring The Rock up?
Ed Harris, from Stepmom.
I think of Ed Harris, I think of The Rock, and then I think of Apollo 13. Those are my two Ed Harris.
Oh yeah.
He's great on Westworld too, but
I think of him Enemy at the Gates, man. When he's like the German sniper that's coming in to kill the Russian snipers. That's a good one. A very underrated movie.
Yeah, great. A lot of great Ed Harris things going on.
Oh yeah, Vin Diesel. We got Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel. We got a few representatives out there.
There's a lot of beautiful bald brothers out there, but there's not a lot. Like, you don't want to be Danny DeVito. Shave it off. Shave it off.
Just shave it.